A very good morning, children. Welcome to SVS e-learning class. This is your Firoz Khan sir as your physics subject teacher. Today we are going to study a new lesson from the chemistry. And you all know physics is physical science subject. There are 12 lessons. Among that, 7 lessons from chemistry, 5 lessons from the physics. So, those who still did not buy the books, please buy as soon as possible. So let's start our the lesson chemical equation. Okay children, today's class we are going to discuss about the topics chemical equation. In the previous class, that is 9th class, you have learned a chemical reaction. And this chapter chemical equation, the 10th class, is the continuation of the lesson chemical reaction. So without knowing the chemical reaction properly, you cannot understand the chemical equation properly. So today's class we will discuss some chemical reactions. Through that we will study the chemical equations. So let's start. First of all, we want to understand what do you mean by chemical equation. So chemical equation means a shorthand method to represent chemical reaction. So to represent a chemical reaction, we are using a shorthand method. That is chemical equation. How we are using? By using symbols and formulae. So a shorthand method to represent chemical reaction by using symbols and formulae is called a chemical equation. Here I'm giving an example for you. That is, for example, here mention carbon react with oxygen. So this is a one sentence or a statement. Now we can make this into equation. As it is a reactions. It is just a reaction. Okay. You can make into a equation by using symbols and a formula. So the symbol of the carbon is C, react. So the react means we are just adding a symbol that is plus. So with oxygen. So what is the symbol of oxygen? We have to write it as a O2. This is a formula O2. Symbol is O and formula is O2. We know that all the diatomics. So what are the diatomic elements? So once we can look what are the diatomic elements such as hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine. So these all the diatomic elements should be represented with H2, N2, O2, F2, Cl2, Br2, I2. So all these elements should be represented with diatomics. Okay. So when you write in the equations, when these elements, that is hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, diatomic elements, if come alone, you should write under that symbol number 2. Don't forget that. So now it makes a compound. So this one we are used as a gives rise to, or otherwise we call as a yields. So he is getting a carbon dioxide. So now look at this is a reaction, and now we got a equation. It is a equation. So from the reaction we got a equation. I hope you understood, students. Yes. Now look at here. This part, so left of the arrow, left side of the arrow, we call as a reactants. And right side of the arrow we call as a products. So remember that the left side of this arrow, we called as reactants. Right side of these arrows we call as products. Okay, so I hope you're understanding that. Okay, children, this we can look some example of the chemical reaction. Four type of chemical reaction. The first one is chemical combination, and chemical decomposition, chemical displacement, and chemical double displacement. So first I'm going to teach you chemical combination. I know you all well know these topics anyway. We can look after the basics. Okay, so the chemical combination, a reaction in which a single product is formed from two or more reactants is known as chemical combination. So here mentioned a reaction. There is a reaction in which single product, the product should be a single, formed two or more reactants. For example, the same example we can take as before we discussed, or we can take sulfur, another example. Okay, good. So sulfur react with oxygen. Sulfur react with oxygen and forms sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide. So here you observe, they mentioned already, a product is formed. So here this sulfur dioxide is a product. Sulfur dioxide is a product. How many products? Only one product. It's formed only one product. From here mentioned two or more reactants. So here one reactant, another reactant. So from these two reactants, they formed a product. It is commonly we are mentioned as a, assume as a, this is A plus B and form AB. Alright. So here one element react with the other element and form a compound. That's we called as a chemical combination. Yes. Okay, children. So we got now chemical combination. Let's have a look for some example of the chemical combination reaction. So here sulfur react to the oxygen, sulfur dioxide. So I can write the sulfur S. Its symbol is S. React with the oxygen, it is O2, and form sulfur dioxide. So it is a good example of the chemical combination. So very easy to understand. So let's look the first example of the chemical combination. Here written a question, calcium react with oxygen and form quicklime. So from the sentence we can take the equation. So calcium. So what is the symbol of calcium? Yes, you know, Ca. React, already I said, react we should write as a plus with oxygen. So oxygen, can I write only O or we should write O2? Yes, it should be right as a O2 because it is a diatomic. Already mentioned diatomic. And it comes alone. And react with oxygen and form quicklime. So look at here. You don't know the formula of quicklime. What is the quicklime? You don't know. But you have now two elements. And already you well known about the crisscross method. So you can use the crisscross method to get this product. So what is calcium? Calcium atomic number already you know, that is 20. So electronic configuration 2, 8, 8, 2. So it becomes plus 2. And oxygen atomic number, it is 8. So 2, 6. So it is more than 2 and it is minus 2. Alright. So minus 2. So see here written, this 2 will be here, and or written, this 2 will be here. So this two will be cancelled, and we got the answer is calcium oxide. So write you just as a calcium oxide. This calcium oxide only we are called as a quicklime. We are called quicklime. Yes, you're understanding? It's calcium oxide. So if you don't know the compound formula, you can write with the crisscross method. They all everyone know well. Yes, so it has completed. So calcium react with oxygen forms quicklime. That's we completed here, right? So this is one of the example of the chemical combination. So next, one more example we can look after the chemical combination, that is sodium react with the chlorine and form common salt. So there is one element sodium, another element chlorine. What is the symbol of sodium? The symbol of the sodium is Na. React, already said, plus. With chlorine. What is the symbol of chlorine? Yes, very good. Cl. And form common salt. So form its yields product. So what is the formula of common salt? So same as before. If you don't know the compound or you don't know the product formula, you do with the crisscross method. So sodium is +1 and chlorine is -1. By using electronic configuration we can understand. Okay, so N, the one here comes, Cl one here comes. This one will be cancelled. So answer is NaCl. So we got the common salt is NaCl. Am I right? Yes. So we understood about the sodium react with the chlorine, and we got a chemical equation. Here, this part are the reactant side. This is the reactants, and this is product. Okay, got everyone? Very good. So the next one, we can look after that. Magnesium react with the sulfur and form magnesium sulfide. Here magnesium one element, sulfur one element, and forms magnesium sulfide. So what is magnesium for symbol? Mg. React, already used plus symbol. With the sulfur, sulfur symbol is S. And form mentioned as this. Magnesium sulfide. Same as before, if you don't know the formula of magnesium sulfide, use crisscross method. So magnesium Mg, we know it is +2. Sulfur, we know it is -2. Yes. So we got Mg2S2. So this two will be cancelled, and the answer is Mgs. Right? Yes. So you got magnesium sulfide. Magnesium sulfide. Am I right? Okay, good. So this is the reactant side, this is the reactant, and this is the product side. Yes. So very easy to understand the chemical combination reaction. Am I right? Okay. So one thing we should understand from the chemical combination, listen students, when a metal oxide react with the water, it forms hydroxide. That is metal hydroxide. So what is metal oxide? For example, calcium is a metal. So when it reacts with oxide, it becomes calcium oxide. So now when it reacts with the water, it forms calcium hydroxide. Remember everyone, calcium hydroxide. Here also, if you don't know this calcium hydroxide formula, you can use the crisscross method. For example, calcium +2 and hydroxide always -1. So while it cross, calcium 1, hydroxide cross 2. So we got answer is calcium hydroxide. Yes, right? Yes. So one more example. When potassium oxide react with the water, and it also forms potassium hydroxide. So you may think, sir, here you written K2, but here did not write K2. Same. Again, I'm saying you use the crisscross method to find the formula. So for example, potassium. Potassium is a +1, hydroxide is -1. So while it cross, potassium here 1, hydroxide here 1. So it will be cancelled. So that is the answer we got at here. Alright. Okay. So when a metal oxide reacts to the water, you always remember metal oxide react to the water, it always form hydroxide or metal hydroxide. It always form a metal hydroxide. Everyone understood? When metal oxide react with the water, it always form metal hydroxide. Got it? Okay. And same as this, you have one more topics to understand. When metal oxide react with the carbon dioxide, it forms carbonate. It always forms carbonate. So metal oxide, again we can take the same example, calcium oxide. Calcium is a metal, this is oxide, metal oxide. React with the already mentioned carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide, we get the formula, already said, it form carbonate. What carbonate forming? Metal carbonate. So calcium, so we know metal carbonate. So calcium is a metal. So what is a calcium carbonate? Metal carbonate of calcium? Yes, oftenly it is calcium carbonate. So here I have written calcium carbonate. But we know that here we should not write as a calcium carbonate, we should write the symbol. If you don't know the calcium carbonate symbol, you can use crisscross, same as before I said. So calcium +2, carbonate -2. This is all we have done in the previous class, how to do the crisscross. If you don't know, or again you want to learn, you personally you can contact me, then I will teach you. Okay? Yes. So calcium we have written, this 2 should be at here, and carbonate CO3, this 2 should be at the bracket here. And we know this 2 will be cancelled. So the last answer is CaCO3. So in the place of here we should write example, calcium oxide react with the carbon dioxide, forms calcium carbonate. Yes, you understood, children? Okay. So one more example, you can go for the magnesium. So magnesium oxide react with the carbon dioxide, what forming? We know magnesium carbonate. So if you don't know the formula, you can do as a crisscross. So the answer will be MgCO3. So, and before we just discussed about magnesium oxide react with the water, it forms magnesium hydroxide. So look at the both examples. Look at the both example. This is metal carbonate, metal carbonate, and this is metal hydroxide. These both are okay, these both are chemical combination. So, because here two or more means one compound and another compound combine and form a single product. Two or more reactants and form a single compound. So that's the reason it also a chemical combination. Okay, children? I think you all understood about the chemical combination, how to do. So very soon we will study about the chemical decomposition reaction. Today's class we studied about the chemical equation, a shorthand method to represent chemical reaction by using symbols and formula is called chemical equation. And we studied about the chemical combination. We discussed about the chemical combination, a reaction in which a single product is formed from two or more reactant is known as chemical combination. And many examples we have done with the chemical combinations. Yes. And still, if you have any doubt about the chemical combination, you can contact me by messaging in the WhatsApp. And soon we will study the remaining topic, chemical decomposition, displacement, and double displacement as today's class. Okay. Those who still did not buy the books, as soon as possible, try to buy the books. And today's class I am going to be leave. Thank you so much for watching. Okay, study well and please repeat those questions I mentioned here. And still, if you have a doubt, you can ask. And without having the practice of the crisscross and chemical equation and writing formula, it is not easy to understand. So make practice many. Okay, thank you.